I'll wait for him to finish.
Oh, is that right now?
Because he's doing the same.
Oh, they're not reading. I ask you a few. I got you. How much?
Back on the table, or whoever's packing it up.
Oh, send that. Here, come wait. Good evening, class. Welcome to another lecture sponsored by the Pasadena Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research, Incorporated, Daytona Beach, Florida. At this time, I'd like to introduce the officers of the school, our president, Drs. Ben and Lindella Trotter, our vice president, Dr. David Hayes, and our secretary treasurer, Drs. Antoine Lisa Irvis. This school was founded as a result under the divine vision and revelation given to our founder, Dr. Henry C. Kinley, in the year 1930. The school was established in the year 1932 in Springfield, Ohio. The corporation then moved to the state of California in 1958 and to the state of Florida in 1991 under the direction of Dr. Glenn W. Kinley. This is a school, not a church, and nor are we affiliated with any religious organization of any kind. At the school, we teach by the true and correct name of our Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh Elohim Yahshua. These three are one. And Yahweh's spirit, and he chose to symbolize himself as a phenomenal cloud, because the cloud is no particular shape and form. Within the cloud, he chose 9 principal attributes, which are intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, love, beauty, justice, foundation, power, and strength. Yahweh then moved to a super corporal shape and form of a man known as Yahweh Elohim. It was in this shape and form that he created the creation, both the heaven and the earth. He then manifests himself, especially prepared sacrificial body known as Adam and Yahshua the Messiah. He came into institute to fulfill both the law and the prophets. Yahweh Elohim Yahshua. These three are one. As it states in Deuteronomy 6:4, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is Yahweh in unity. I'd like to draw your attention to the red boundary that surrounds the chart. It shows that everything in the chart abides within the red boundary. So it is that everything in the universe abides within the pure spirit state of Yahweh. I'd like to read our 10 constitutional aims and objectives of the school, and they are as follows. Number 1, to help you find and know Yahweh, our Elohim, as he really is and actually exists. Number 2, to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood of humanity in Yahshua the Messiah without distinction of race, nationality, creed, sex, caste, or color. And number 3, to investigate and explain spirit law, or so-called law of nature, and the powers latent in man. Number 4, to encourage and promote the study of the scriptures, comparative religion, psychology, philosophy, modern practical and occult science. Number 5, to extirpate current superstition, skepticism, and ignorance. Number 6, to learn, know, and understand the operation of Yahweh's eternal purpose through dispensations and ages. Number 7, to discern and avoid being deceived by Lucifer, the serpent, the devil, or Satan and his demons, operating the mystery of iniquity on earth through the dispensations of time. Number 8, to earnestly contend for the common salvation and faith which was once delivered to the sons or children of Yahweh. Number 9, to make known that Yahweh from the beginning or name, there is no other name given among men or by man can be saved, saving the name of Yahshua the Messiah. And number 10, to inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah, with hope or mortal glorification. In your state, our watchword is peace. Our slogan is to speak the truth. Our theme is taken from Matthew chapter 24, verses 14 and 15, which reads, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world as a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. We therefore shall receive the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. Stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand." At this time, I like a prayer by Dr. Jamie Jones, and the scripture, which is Numbers, the 23rd chapter. I like that, read by Dr. Janice Miles. And the clipboard will be in the back for any announcements, and please silence all cell phones and electronic devices.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Let us all bow in our spirit and soul and thank Yahweh for giving us the desire to come and learn of him one more time. And let us ask that we go within and hear the words that Yahweh has for us this evening. Let us ask that we all have a safe trip up to Ohio and keep those things on our forefront that we were taught in, so that we can share those things with the world. And we ask these things in the Son's name, Yahshua the Messiah. Let us all say, hallelujah. Yeah. Even more
From here.
more talking.
Good evening, class. I'll be reading Numbers, the 23rd chapter, inserting the true and correct names out of the King James Bible. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars and prepare me here 7 oxen and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam offered on every altar a bullock and a ram. And Balaam said unto Balak, stand by the burnt offering, and I will go peradventure. Yahweh will come to meet. Yahweh will come to meet me, and whatsoever he showeth me, I will tell thee. And he went to an high place. And Yahweh Elohim met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared 7 altars, and I have offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. And Yahweh put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. And he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princesses of Moab. And he took up the parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, had brought me from Aram out of the mountains of the east, saying, come, curse me, Jacob, and come, defile Israel. How shall I curse whom Yahweh has not cursed? Or how should I defy whom Yahweh has not defiled? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the 4th part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let me last end be like his. And Balak said unto Balaam, what hast thou done unto me? I took thee, I took thee to curse my enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them all altogether. And he answered and said, must I not take heed to speak that which Yahweh had put in my mouth? And Balak said unto him, come, I pray thee, with me unto another place from whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see but the uttermost part of them, and shall not see them all, and curse me them from thence. And he brought him into a field of Zophim, to the top of Pigus, Pigus, and built 7 altars, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And he said unto Balak, stand here by the burnt offering while I meet Yahweh yonder. And Yahweh Elohim met Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, go again unto Balak and say thus. And when he came to him, behold, he stood by the burnt offering, and the princesses of Moab with him. And Balak said unto him, what has Yahweh spoken? And he said, and he took up his parable and said, rise up, Balak, and hear, and hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. Yahweh Elohim is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he do not, and he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and he has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He has not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither has he seen a perverseness in Israel, and Yahweh Elohim is with him, and the shout of the king is among them. Yahweh Elohim brought them out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any uh, uh, divination against Israel. According to the time, he shall be said of Jacob and of Israel. What had Yahweh wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink of the blood of the slain. And Balak said unto Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. But Balaam answered and said unto Balak, told not I thee, saying, all that Yahweh speaketh, that I must do? And Balak said unto Balaam, come, I pray thee, I will bring thee unto another place. Peradventure it will please Yahweh that thou mayest curse me then from thence. And Balak brought Balaam unto the top of Peor, that looked toward, how do you pronounce Yashman? And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars, prepare me here 7 bullocks and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam had said, and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And that was Numbers 23rd chapter.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, for the prayer, and Dr. Moss for the scripture. At this time, I like to uh, give opportunity for testimonies, before we go to the General Assembly. So if anyone who has got something they want to get off their chest, that what they're grateful for now. Yeah, now's the time. The floor is now open.
Nice day. Take the world to change.
Good evening, family. Oh, my name is Rosalind Bonzel Coleman, and I'm thankful to be here. This is a good time. This is a good time. I'm going back to the assembly. The first assembly that I went to was in 1996. The first assembly. It was a good time, child. It was a good time. That's where that's where I learned who I am and who everybody else is. I just want to say I'm thankful to y'all. I'm thankful to Yahweh. I love y'all. I love everybody. And I know that who I am, and I know he has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. Free to know all about him. I want to learn all about Yahweh, know who he is and how he actually exists in me. So I'm just thankful that he has given me strength to make it another time up there to learn about him. I'm just happy, y'all. I'm just so happy. And I like to thank them. Well, that's all I have to say for today.
I'll break the ice. Good evening, family. It's good to be here. And well, my name is Dr. Lindella Hope Trotter. Used to be Baxter, but now Trotter for 30-something years. My testimony is Yahweh's with me every day. Yahweh knows my down sitting, uprising. He knows my ins, my outs. And the good times and the bad times, he's always with me. And how is that possible? Is that he's within. And that's my testimony as far as the greatest thing that you could ever learn. What do they say? What is it, Nature Boy? Is just to love and be loved in return, right? Thinking back to my early years in Pasadena, PIDMR, Glenn Kinley would always talk about going to Ohio and how he loved Springfield, Ohio, and he spoke with it with great fondness. And when we would drive up, when we would go up to Ohio, and you go over the Ohio River, and usually you're going from Kentucky into Ohio, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to Ohio, the heart of it all." And Ohio is shaped like a little heart. So it'd say, "Welcome to Ohio, the heart of it all." And no truer words were ever spoken in that, is Springfield, Ohio holy? No. But the things that were shown to Dr. Henry C. Kinley was the greatest panoramic divine vision and revelation ever given to a man. And why did he say that, make that statement? Was that his vision encompassed all the visions that came before him. In other words, he's at the end of the age. Now Yahweh's opening up the knowledge and understanding of Yahweh and his purpose. And he would call it an absolute and profound knowledge of Yahweh from beginning to end. And the things that he partook of and his desire was, how would God, that's how he knew him at the time, how would God reconcile all men to see the self same thing, the self same way? And these charts that you see painted before you are as a result of that prayer. The vision that he received was the result of that prayer. And we are a partaker of the divine vision and revelation. And having been taught by Dr. Glenn Kinley, we were taught by the same one. You know, we didn't receive a lesser amount, you know, than those that were brought up under H.C. Kinley. I don't feel lesser because I never met H.C. Kinley in the flesh, because when I hear recordings of H.C. Kinley, I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I can follow H.C. Kinley and I understand where he's coming from. If I can get some tissues out, that would be great. I can understand where he's coming from. And our endeavor, you know, is to give, share and give what we know. And, you know, we had our little obstacles even with the first assembly. With the first assembly, my family was at the very end, like Glenn Kinley was in the front. We had used to caravan up. So at that time we had probably 10 cars. And Dr. Glenn Kinley was kind of known for the lead foot. You know, he would get in the car and he would hit it. When he said, let's go, that meant let's go, right? And we were walking past Shirley White's car and I smelled oil, like a burning oil smell. And I said, well, we're going to have to keep an eye on Shirley's car. So we're starting to get on the road and start having problems. So we stopped in Palatka to get it fixed. So we were all sitting around to get the car fixed, you know, et cetera, et cetera. We get on the road on I-75 going northbound and Dad's hitting it. And as he does, there's a spotter on our windshield. We were the back car. There's a spotter on our windshield and it was coolant. So we're like, what the heck? And then Shirley's car started smoking and that smoke turned into a lot of smoke. So they pulled over and everybody else was behind Glenn Kinley. So we had to go probably 100 miles an hour. We didn't all have cell phones back in those days. You know, this is the arc ages of 1996 when not everybody and their grandmother has a cell phone. So we were, you know, heading back, you know, Dr. Glenn Kinley pulled, you know, we're like, you know, Shirley's car. So he said, okay, meet us at the next rest stop, at the next exit. So we had to go up to the next exit, turn around, come back. And as we're coming back, we see like smoke, like a lot of smoke, almost like somebody's burning a field. And we're like, where's all this smoke coming from? And we look over and there's like flames, like huge flames, you know, coming out of their car, you know, on the side of the road. And we're like, oh, wow. Okay. So we're trying to call, you know, we had a cell phone. We're trying to call 911 and, you know, they're, you know, of course, all out of the car. And, so we go back to the next thing and we come around and thankfully by that time, the fire department had already been there and they were extinguishing the car. And the heat was so hot that the tires were burnt out. That was like down to the, you know, the rims. And like, I think it was Sean or Andre that one of them had their flip-flops and it was like burnt to the bottom of the, you know what I mean? It was like melted. So, and they had their clothes and everything in the back of the car. So the guy was like using his axe to get the back of the car open. I can laugh about it now. At the moment, we were just all like, what? So we're like, okay, you know, can you bring them and their stuff to the next exit? So we get to Dad and Loopy and he's like, okay, well, we had to get them a rental car to get up to Ohio. Okay. So we had to get him a rental car. And so he's like, okay, meet us in the first rest stop in Kentucky. So we said, okay. The rental car that we got could only go to Atlanta. And they wanted to charge them another fee for another rental car from Atlanta to Ohio. So I had them to work it out where, and it was me and Willery. We had them to work it out where they would just pay the one fee. Okay. So we got the car in Destin, Florida, brought it back, got them all loaded. And Shirley, bless her little heart, was not used to riding on the freeway. So she would hit the brakes every time. So Willery ended up being the one driving. And I said, okay, Willery, just white on rice, fellas, like white on rice. So we get to Atlanta, Georgia, I want to say around midnight. And we get up to Kentucky, I want to say around 3 in the morning, something like that. So we were hoofing it. We couldn't really speed in Georgia because the Georgia Highway Patrol will really get you and get the super speeder tickets and stuff. Anyway, note to self, don't speed in Georgia. So we get to Kentucky. I'm exhausted. Vicky is little. Vicky is about 1.5 at the time, almost not quite 2. And so I'm sleeping in the driver's seat. She's on top of me. And little did I know I'm pregnant with Colin. So I'm newly pregnant with Colin. And then so we got up to Ohio, and then I had to take the car. We had to take the car and drop it off at the Columbus airport. So I'm exhausted going like this, trying to drive, But and everybody in the class chipped in so they could have clothes. There were thrift shops up there, everybody, and they knew that they were going to need a ride back home, and so, I feel that it was worth them coming because this was, Ohio, and he was the last speaker. He preached so much, and I was teasing Ben the other night, like almost preached his voice out of existence. He had to have like lemon, and honey and stuff for his voice. But, if you look at those 96 assembly tapes, he said he was going to how did he say it? Restore the vision. And when he was talking about Yahshua the Messiah in the tomb, and he got up on the floor, and he's talking about no eyes twinkling, no heart beating, and then he's getting up, and, Richard Bailey went to help him. He's like, no, I don't need no help, and he's towards the end of his life, he's very frail really at this point. But as he's preaching, he's transforming into a 30-year-old man. He had all the vim and vinegar you want to say, and the boldness that we know him for, where he would, kind of pussyfoot around, early, but he's like, just quit lying, damn it, and just really, taking it to him. And the truth that he spoke, they can't get out of it to this day. To this day, and I think some of his relatives are coming to the fact that Uncle Glenn was right. And they're going to have to come to that fact even more so. Uncle Glenn was right. He was right about the doctrine. He was right about anything with the schools. He was right about the people in the schools. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that. But this little handful of a handful of a handful is mighty in Yahweh. And I'm very proud of this body. I'm very excited of the things yet to come. I'm honored to be a part of it and to be your sister in the faith and to continue to fight the fight of faith to the better end. Right, Liz? Okay. With that, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity.
For those of you who just came in, the floor is now open for testimonies.
Good evening, class. My name is Liliana Marie Preston, and I would just like to say that I'm very grateful for this body and very happy to know that you guys are all with me, and then I have Yahweh with us or with me too. So that's all I like to say. Thank you.
Good evening, family. My name is Colin Andrew Kelly Trotter for the camera. um, and I'm also very grateful for this family, very grateful for the teaching. And I do have something to share because the other week, the other week I was in Puerto Rico, as most of y'all know, and there was actually a sign, on in one of the streets that said "Congregation of Yahweh," and you know who pointed that out to me? It was Talia, actually, and Yahweh is working with her, and I'm very grateful for that. And he's also working with me, and I know with all of us. And I'm just very grateful to have yet another opportunity to go to the General Assembly. And I know it's going to be a great one. So thank you.
I'm very great. Oh, my name is Peter Michael Jones, and I am grateful to have the knowledge of Yahweh, and I am super excited to go to Ohio because every time we go, it's super fun. And and yeah. Oh. My name is my name is Abner Seymour Trotter, and and all I'd like to say is I'm grateful for Yahweh, and Yahweh's all in all within all us.
My name is Eva Trotter, and I wanted to share something that happened to me recently about I was a little worried about going to Ohio and stuff like that, just different worries. And I had a dream I think it was a couple days ago, of Dr. Thomas Miles. And I was in this front row, and it was where Paul's seat. And I remember he was just smiling, and he put out his hand, and he was just laughing. And sorry, I'm getting overwhelmed. It was so real, like it was so beautiful. And I remember like Brenda had visited me like a couple of weeks ago. Sorry. And I'm wishing Vicky O the best. But I want to say that we're going to be strong, and we have so much behind us. We have all the angels, Moses, all the patriarchs, the righteous men, Glenn Kinley, H.C. Kinley, are all backing us. And we have nothing to fear. or have any reservations, because this gospel is the truth. And it has the power to reconcile and bring everybody into one, just like in the beginning in heaven, it was all one. And so it's got to be back that same way. And I'm happy for this body. I hope we are going to do well. And I want to encourage us to stay together, stay strong, and fight the fight of faith. Thank you.
Anyone else have any testimony? No, yes, no, so.
Good evening, family. Oh, man.
State your name. State your name. Patrick,
My name is Holly Holdley. Thank you. No, I'm just so thankful because you can be in the hardest of circumstances and still have peace. I've had a lot of friends, because you all know my daughter had her baby and she's still in the hospital. And it's kind of like a roller coaster ride when the baby's in the NICU, because they do well and they kind of drop a little and they come back. So it's been difficult and it's hard to see it's hard to see a baby with tubes and everything, and you just want to hold her and you can't, but she's there and she she is feisty. She kicks the nurses and and she tries to grab everything, and she lifts her head up. I mean, she's strong and she's feisty, so that is encouraging. But when you're in that hard place where it's hard to keep a smile on your face sometimes, I've had a lot of people from the outside of class reach out to me, Christians, and they're encouraging and they're very loving, and they are praying for me all the time, which is nice. But man, how do I say this? Talking to my friend yesterday, she's misguided in a lot of things and doesn't know the truth. And it's hard to have those conversations where you're trying to navigate around the misconceptions and trying to speak truth without tearing, everything she believes down. But the things that we do agree on, the truth that does stand is Yahweh. It's Yahweh in her and it's Yahweh in me. And it's encouraging. And to have the family gather around me and my daughter and David and the baby, I can feel you. Yesterday was a really hard day for me. You know, I had to go back to work. I had to be away from them. And in the morning, I had to be there at 6 a.m. So I'm tired, you know, and then I have to stand there and pull all the items to the front of the shelf, you know, that zoning, you know, so they call it zoning, but you go into a zone where you're you know. But when your mind's not occupied, you know,
Right.
when you're not doing something, those thoughts just swirl and swirl, and I got overwhelmed, and I reached out to some family, and I said, I didn't tell them what was going on. I just said, you know, I'm struggling. I'm not okay. Just think about me today, please. And by the afternoon, I was okay, you know, and I felt loved and encouraged and at peace. And I'm just thankful to have that. And just one more time that Yahweh shows me it's real, that he's real, that he's in each one of us, and that this gospel is real. And man, whew. Yahweh's been faithful my whole life. And he's not going to stop now. And I know that things might not always go the way exactly how I want them, but I know that it'll all work out for my good. It'll all work out for the good of his purpose, because there's a purpose and a plan, and we're each one of us are walking that out. And the strength that I've seen come forth from my daughter through all of this is encouragement enough for me to say it's worth it. God, it's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. The fruit is worth it, because we're not promised an easy road, but we are promised that we'll get through it if we keep our eyes where they need to be. So I'm just thankful for each one of you. And I'm thankful that Yahweh is manifested in each one of you. I can see it. Oh, man. Because that's who we are. All right, I'll get down. But it's just, you can't not get up here and say how good Yahweh is. That's that's what testimonies are for, right?
Yes.
So thank you all for your encouragement and for being there for us. And I can't wait to bear the fruit and just I can't wait for y'all to see the baby. So, all right. Thank you for your attention. I love you all.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Sonia Bell. I know I was up Sunday, but I just want to oh boy. Jeez, awful Holly. Words of encouragement. I don't need no water, son, but come here since you're right here. This is a NICU baby. This is my 30-week NICU baby. 30 weeks. He was 3 pounds. This my No, wait, let me tell you. He was 3 pounds, 14 ounces, 17 3/4 inches. I know.
Yeah, what did happen?
And now, okay, go back to them. Now we have to order him shoes at dealers because they don't carry size 14. When he was born, they didn't have preemie clothes. Preemie clothes were not a thing back in 2001. We had one preemie outfit and it was a little sailor suit. And the hat was too big. The hat was too big. And he looked like a little old man. And I was telling, I think Lisa, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But I was telling Lisa how, I think it was just the other day, the doctors were telling Richard and I, he's a feed and grow baby. Just feed him and he'll grow. And they were not lying. So, and Holly, I've been there, I'll leave that NICU and drop to the floor. And Rich would have to pick me up to get me home, or I'd drop in the shower and just. I thought I was gonna lose my mind. I know. And but I knew if I serve Yahweh, if I serve Yahweh, He would deliver me and my child. And He did. He did that. And so for you and your daughter, He's not a failing now. And you have family that if you need anything, your daughter, no matter what it is. And none of us have money. We're not rich. Give me some food stamps, somebody. I make too much money to get food stamps. What you mean? 50 cents on, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Whatever you need. This little body, you'd be surprised. We pulled some stuff out of the hat. Like with Rosin with that car on fire, we was like, the car on fire? But he said, be there. He did. He did. He said, be there. And a lot of people came back from that 96 and they had eviction notice. Now, I ain't saying go through all that. Because Dr. Glenn Kimmy did say this. Don't get to the point where you serving Yahweh to now you begging on the street and now you more of a burden than the help. You know what I'm saying? Don't get to that. But when you can help. If you can't offer up a prayer, if you ain't got nothing to say, get out the way. But don't hinder. Don't get in the way of the sons of Yahweh. Don't get in the way of those that want to do the will of Yahweh. And I'm glad to see Aunt Cindy here. Because we know it's a lot of us in here. Not a lot, not saying we're all old and not that you old, but you know, people with chronic health problems like me, because I'm one. So we know we're familiar with people that have ailments and they want to, but the body's not able. But the spirit is there with us. So I appreciate that. And she donated to help those. Just a little bit, whatever it was. I don't even know what she put on there in the donation, but just to help. So I appreciate you, Aunt Cindy. Thank you. And I know she's going to be with us in the spirit. And on Zoom, yeah, that's right. Hey, Zoom. But I just want to encourage the body. And I look forward again to doing the will of our Father. And like he said, 96, 97, 90, he's coming with the strength of Samson. And thank you very much.
Well, you left the opening there for me, Miss Sonia. I call her my angel. Can you hear me if I just leave the stuff like this? Okay. Oh, the other one too? So the Zoom people, it looks like a little Elmo, like this, Adrian? Oh. I'm not used to it. There's my friends on Zoom. I'll start by that. Got so much to say, but I'd like to thank Team A Trotter. That's Dr. Adrian and Dr. Danielle Trotter for doing Zoom. It got me through. I'll try to tell you a little bit what was going on. But one time, Adrian, you may not know this, but one time, I don't know how it worked, but one time Zoom was down, but we were there. Aunt Patty White, and who was your friend? Jonathan and somebody else. We had our own little Zoom. We had a Zoom meeting. It was really pretty cool. We all shared, and at the end, Jonathan did the doxology. So anyway, if you guys are there, hi. It's been what did they say in the 60s? It's been a long wild ride or something like that. The year started, you're always happy for the new year. It's like, it's going to be better. It was like, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. This sounds silly, but when you have a pet who is your only family member, your only companion for, 24 years, there's a different kitty. He wasn't 24 years old, but to see him go through his final days. Then my beloved uncle that I would do once a month FaceTime passed away. Then my car got stolen and was used in a crime.
My goodness.
And then the worst part was dealing with the insurance company, this idiots. And so by the time they found my car at the Granada Bridge, which was only 2 blocks from my house, and then they towed my car to the police station. Crime scene investigators get involved.
Right.
That's a lot.
Then the craziness of dealing with the insurance, and they're not even here in person, it's all by phone anymore. They were in Pennsylvania of all places. Anyway, long story short, think of 6 weeks. The car finally got towed out to Dr. Richard Bell out into land, and I knew as soon as it was in his hands, it was going to be done. It was going to be done right, and I would get my car back, which is what happened.
Yay.
But in all these all this that I was going with, and I also became, because I have some pretty serious pre-existing health problems, and then all it takes with me is like one more stressor, and all the health stuff flared up. And something like this, where I struggle to talk, I was so depleted that even when somebody like my sister Pat Henderson called, I didn't even have the energy to have a conversation. I didn't have the energy to even think clearly for months. So thank goodness I could go to Zoom. And when you said, like, you can't even have the energy to smile, if you just breathe the name. Sounds too simple. How can that help, Cindy? It does. And if you're still arguing, debating, whatever, that you are Yahweh, Yahweh's within you, you breathe the name. How, like if Ford builds a car and they put their name on it, it's a Ford.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Right? And so you want to say the Holy Spirit, anyway, come on now.
You're right.
It's too late in the game. Nobody, do you want to know the truth, or do you want to just argue and debate?
That part.
Yeah. You're just go somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I'm sorry. But this class, these people, these beautiful, handpicked by Yahweh people, we're all about the truth. That's it. And like, I remember which person gave the testimony today, but the world is in sad shape, except they have us. They have this body. This is Yahweh's body. Everybody here is Yahweh pulled together. And they have told you sometime, I think almost every year, except this year, that I went to Ohio, it seemed like something happened. One time poor Nicole got sick and was in the hospital and so, but nobody worried. Everybody knew that, oh, there you are. It's you up there. Okay. I just see little eyes. I didn't realize it was you. Anyway, that's for you on Zoom. It's Dr. Nicole Hayes doing the videoing. She's blowing kisses. So, and I know it was hard on her mom and dad and all of us, but nobody really, we knew it was going to be okay. How do we have that kind of confidence? Because we know who we are. We know who we've been taught by.
True.
I remember one time when early on here, I was talking to Dr. Lewis and Pat Henderson, and they were sharing with me their first couple classes here, their experience here. And one time Pat said, Lewis, I believe that's Yahweh. I believe that's Yahweh up there teaching. And it is, take away his name, take away the Kinley part. Just listen to what that man is saying. One time I was on Facebook, but like the last week or so, and all of a sudden there was a video of him, and it wasn't from Jason Kinley. It was just, I don't know. And I was listening to that, and Dr. Kinley was talking about those of us who come and sit under the founder, sit under him, and are here to hear the truth. Just give us the truth. The truth could be in the form of love. It can be beauty. It can be justice. It can be any one of the attributes. But basically, it's just the truth. And so Dr. Glenn Kinley was preaching about how when you come here and you sit and you earnestly want to learn and know the truth, it's like the veil being removed, just like the veil in the how do you use the pointer if you got? Okay, where is it? Where's the veil? And oh, I don't know if I can do this. I'll try. The veil, when the Messiah took off his veil of flesh, and the veil in the holy place was rent in twain so that we can now see the most holy place, the ultimate truth, the truth of Yahweh within us. It came to me that when a man and a woman get married and you're dressed in the traditional garb and the man goes to kiss his bride for the first time, he lifts that veil. I never, right? You guys sound like you already knew that, but it just like all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, we are the bride of Yahweh. He literally lifted the veil so that we could marry him. We could be part of the marriage feast. And what are we feasting on? We're feasting on the attributes. And the children always go over the attributes, but there's more than that. There's the ones that branch off. And there's even more than this: law, power, beauty, glory, mercy. I know we've had some beautiful sunrises and sunsets here in Florida, and especially as the days are longer. And after a cloud, after a rainstorm, and the sun comes out behind the cloud, you see those rays. And I had a friend in Virginia, she used to say, that's the glory. Those little shining lights coming out, that's the glory of Yahweh. And it is the glory, and that glory is not only in the sky. Thank you, Patty. Oh, what a gentleman. And that glory, he's funny. Like, I love all these kids, all the young ones getting up and teaching. Anyway, the glory is in us. It's in us. So anyway, all the time that I was through all that, couldn't talk, couldn't think, whatever, I knew you guys were here. I knew that there was going to be the resurrection. So like Bugs Bunny, resurrection. Your Wesley Rabbit. I knew it. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind. I knew this day was going to come where I could return. So I want to wish you a wonderful, successful General Assembly. Happy. I see that Dr. Danielle Trotter has made some cool arrangements, and a picnic at the Bucks Creek and all that stuff. So you did an awesome job there, and everybody who's involved. So yes, I will be with you. Thank goodness they're going to do the Zoom, and I'll see all my Zoom friends on Zoom. So let it be profitable that y'all will be there, and that I don't know, but the word mercy keeps coming. It doesn't seem to apply to that, but Yahweh, being merciful to us for all that we're going through, not just Holly and myself, but y'all. I know everybody's gone through stuff. I thought I was over all that stuff after when I was first here in 2020, the winter of 2020, and all this stuff happened to me. I was basically abandoned down here. I had no money, didn't even have a car, didn't have family, and it was tough. I mean, only thing that got me through is I knew this was the truth. And I knew that what they told me, that I was Yahweh and about breathing the name. And this time going through all what I did, I had family here. I had people checking on me, and sometimes I'm dreaming all the time. You guys, somebody's always in my dream. Even people who used to be here are in my dreams, and I'm grateful for that. I that has given me hope. And little miracles happen when I finally had to put my Leo down. The lady came and she did a beautiful job, and then the way out she goes, "I'm not going to charge you." And then with my car and the car and everything just kind of financially wiped me out. And my sister helped me. You know, like everything had an upside. And there's more, I can't think of it, but I know that's Yahweh. Yahweh had my back this whole time. Dr. Celeste used to say that. Yahweh got her back. So anyway, she's with us. Dr. Brenda's with us, and I know Shelley's gonna be there. So that's really neat. So anyway, I'm babbling now, but I just wanna, I'm not one to always come up and give testimony, but after hearing what Holly, Dr. Hoadley and Dr. Bell said, I had to add my testimony because Yahweh is real. And that's who you are. End of story. So, okay. Thank you. Everybody have a good General Assembly. Whatever that is. Thank you, Pat.
Mhm. I'd like to thank all the lovely testimonies so far. At this time, I'd like to read the announcements. There are 4 announcements. Dr. Daniel Trotter has an announcement. Dr. Ben Trotter has an announcement. And Dr. Adrian Trotter has an announcement. And Dr. Sonia Bell has a brief announcement.
Good evening, class.
Evening.
I posted on the messenger, not everyone's on there, but I just need to say it out here as well. Last minute, the people for the box lunches has suspended services. Got an email from them. So I quickly found Panera within our budget. Oh yeah, Panera's good. And I have selections that I put in the student body channel. You just pick 2. It's kind of like the you pick 2 deal, but it comes with a dessert and the kind of like the bread, the chip, or the apple. You know how you get that, and of course your drink still and water. So, but yeah, still you get your dessert and you pick 2. And Panera's good and good old faithful. So at least we'll know it's really yummy. But I'll be seeing you guys after class, so don't leave, or else I'm going to be bugging you, calling you for the assembly. I'm looking at Kevin because I called him like 2 or 3 times now. Sorry, didn't call you out. But anyway, I'm gonna be getting with you guys. Don't leave, all that kind of jazz, so I can get your selections. I love you all. Bye.
Good evening, everyone. I talked to Rhonda Miller, president of the Springfield class, about us being there on that Tuesday. She was completely overjoyed. Their arms are open to us. They just need a head count because they need to bring more chairs or whatever is needed. Their same class times are 7:30 to 9:30 or something to that effect. But she sends all her love and she'll be happy to see us when we get there.
I'm taking this water. Hello, good evening, class. Just an announcement about Zoom. I'm going to be broadcasting the General Assembly 2024 on Zoom. So the same kind of rules apply. Just remember you are going to be recorded and it will be afterwards on YouTube. And we're starting to generate a small little following on YouTube so far. So meaning like people are seeing the content, they followed Glenn Kinley and PIDMR's library and documentaries. So they are seeing our actual YouTube channel. So they see us preaching. So for the General Assembly, just bear with us because there's going to be like, you know, it's not going to be set up like it is here. I'll probably use the Wi-Fi from the building and so forth. So just bear that in mind as we continue on. Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody, it's me again. The extended grace has been extended. The Zelle, I can't shut the Zelle off, quote unquote. It's Zelle. I don't have any control over it. So if you have not paid your registration or monies towards the lunches that Danielle had planned, the Zelle, I keep wanting to say Zoom. The Zelle is still open. But again, do not approach me with any checks, cash, or money orders in Ohio. Thank you, but Zelle is still open. Thank you very much.
Does anyone else have any announcements? Okay. All right. At this time, I'm going to close down the testimonies, and my first and last speaker will be Dr. Adrian Trotter.
Just in case, I guess, because you never know. Good evening again, everyone. Good evening. Okay. I really enjoyed the testimonies. I enjoyed the testimonies. It's always powerful to hear, especially when someone is not amongst us in our midst, like physically. How Yahweh still works with you. And when I come to class, I like to know how he works, not just in my life, but in yours as well. I know that really that phone there? Okay. See further. Yes. We'll get it right. Okay. So when I get to hear how, you know, I have empathy. I can put myself in your shoes because I also have gone through something. So it's like now I went and when that you know one man, you know them all. And pain, when you feel that, especially if it's extended where you absolutely know you have no control, you just have to actually just watch the train wreck happen. Then you start to see that your Yahweh is with you. How else did I make it out of here? You got to look at it like that. Like you have these trials, tribulations, and then you have a death, a burial, and then a resurrection. And that happens throughout your entire life. It's a cycle. You'll start to realize, especially as you come to class, where the cycles are coming from, and you could actually see them ahead of time and realize, okay, every time before an assembly, the X, Y, and Z happen. So how can I hedge my bets, or how can I prepare myself for the storm? And the best thing that I've ever seen work throughout all my time being in class is the gospel. If you hold on to the gospel, everything else will iron out. You have any problems, the gospel will fix it. In fact, we were taught it's the only thing that will fix some of these problems that you may have, even the worldwide problems. This gospel, and he said, if this gospel doesn't fix it, nothing will. Nothing. So I know that if your heart's in the right place and you're pushing to do what our dad asked you to do, then it's going to turn out right. And I say it like that, like your dad. Like sometimes I get on Avner and he tells me, and rightfully so, but he tells me, he says, you have a daddy? You have a daddy? And I smile at that and I tell him, I'm like, yeah, yes, I do have a daddy. Someone that I answer to. And it's, he might be referring to, Dr. Ben Poppy, if you spank me, I'm gonna tell your daddy. I know. If you need daddy, like I need daddy, your age. But we have an authority like that we answer to. We just do. It might look like we're just winging it at this class, that we're sitting here waiting for a vision and revelation, like twiddling our thumbs. No, because there's so many principles in the fact of tarrying. There's so much in that principle that he had to draw it out with us, and he's going to test you on what he's like a teacher. This is a school. Your teacher teaches you 2 + 2. It's on the test. It's on the test. Math, here comes 2 + 2. Just to see if you learned it. Same thing. Long suffering. How are you going to show that? Well, you got to suffer long. It's not like, I broke my foot. The pain was intense, but it was short. Then over time, it took a while. Like there's certain different kind of pain. It's not the same initial pain. Well, in class, we're learning a longevity. So we're not sitting here twirling our thumbs. There's a scripture in the Bible. It's actually Isaiah, the 40th chapter. If someone could pick that up and go to the very last, 2 or 3 sentences. And we do have an authority. We do have a father. And a lot of times we'll talk about the threefold supernal nature of Yahweh. Sorry, I drank a lot of coffee, so I'm shaky, so I'm not going to do that. Isaiah 40, the very end, if you don't mind.
Going to going to 28.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, going to 27. Why sayest thou, O Jacob, and speakest, O Israel, my way is hid from Yahweh, and my judgment is passed over from my Elohim. Hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting Elohim, Yahweh, the creator of the heavens and of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary.
No, he fainteth not. Like we just got through, the previous speakers were going into how he's not a failing out. So he's not like, you ask him something, he's not like, oh, my leg hurts and I really can't go and do that. No, he no matter what you would think he's going through, he's there. You ask him, give him the charge. He'll do it. You see, go ahead.
Neither is weary, there is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength.
Now, he is past finding out, and that's what you'll hear that in the other schools. You'll hear that. I can guarantee you that this Yahweh, he's inscrutable, incomprehensible, past finding out. And I'm saying that's actually right. That's right. To a degree, like there's no amount of reading I can do of the Bible, or I could get the Dead Sea Scrolls, if you will, or whatever you think the oldest text is, and read it over and over and over, and Yahweh has that seven Sabbath seals on it. So it's past, and the book tells you someone searched for people to open it. He searched. He searched on. Okay, so let me do it like this: heaven, on earth, and even under the earth, using the pattern. And he found no one worthy and able to do it, and he wept much. Then he heard a voice in red letter. Now, if he died at 33 and a half years old, how is he speaking in AD 96? To John, telling him, give it to me. Give it to me. And that's all he's saying now. Whatever you have, whatever in your life is sealed up, give it to him. He won't let you down. And he unlocked it. I will run loose. And so if you're understanding anything tonight, whether it be from the testimonies, whether it be from the speaker, that's not you understanding a damn thing. Because no one understands the purpose of God, but God himself. And straight across the floor. This is why it's a school. Because you're not going to get, if you just sat there that class only and left, you wouldn't have got the explanation of that. Over time, he said, no one knows the purpose of God but God himself, and stops. Do you know what I just said? Someone in the audience says, what? That I'm God in the body. And if you're understanding it, the purpose, you must be God too. And so that person said, well, that makes sense to me. So you're starting to really learn who you really are when you come here. That I'm not Adrian, 33, 34, 35 years old with, I jokingly call myself African American, 5'11", with my boot on, I'm 6 foot, you know. So yeah, that's not me. That's not me. This is, and this, just as he took on, you see this half figure? Dr. Carl F. Gross, who was the co-founder of the school, was explaining the creation, and he talked about Elohim, and he's talked about Elohim just, he kind of skipped over this, in other words. So the founder stopped him and reeled him in and said, actually, Doc, I answered your question with this picture or the figure of the half figure of a man here, because it's showing that Elohim transformed into every cosmographical structure. When you see it, you see this big plate? We have it just in a mini form on every single day of creation. Now, on the 5th day, you'll see birds, fish, and insect kingdom. Every day that you see, whether it be the 1st on down to the 7th, is going to be manifest on the earth plane. So whatever you see in heaven is going to repeat itself on the earth plane. So here he has the birds on the 5th day, and actually and we say it like this because it's profound. Every animal in each formation that Yahweh made has an ability to take flight. Now, you might think fish don't fly, Mr. Trotter. Well, actually, if you take from your perspective and drop down in a submarine, I didn't say submersible, and I didn't say go visit the Titanic, but I did say drop down a little bit, and you'll see that it actually looks like the fish are flying, swimming around. Fish above you, fish below you, and you're floating there in water, in a great deep. And then if you take a plane and you go up real high, of course you'll see clouds, but even above the clouds, you'll see birds flying. So he's showing you that it's not necessarily you've got some feathers and can you take off. That's not the flight we're talking about. But I can fly from this compartment up to this compartment and up here. And a true bird doesn't just stay up there. A bird sometimes will come on down and they'll settle on down onto something and relax. And then if a fox starts coming, easily just ascend. That was not a photo. So the if you can read that, continue on.
Chapter 29. He giveth power to the faint, to them that have no might he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon Yahweh.
Now remember the train of thought about Carrie. Let's wait for a second. Now, what about those that wait on Yahweh? Go ahead.
But they that wait upon Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with the wings of as angels and as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint.
And that's the promise, if you will, for those that wait on Yahweh, that they have that ability. Everyone in here has that ability to ascend or descend. And how the pattern works is amazing to this individual because you can see it working over, to the point where I don't have to rely on Dr. Antoine Irvis. I don't have to call my dad every 2 seconds. Hey, I saw this and this. Does that work with the pattern? No, I don't have to confirm with anybody. No man like that. All within, and that's why Paul, when he had his divine vision, Paul, the way to Damascus, he was taught by the Sanhedrin Council. He was taught by men. That's why I'm just saying about he's past finding out. On his own, he was taught by the best in the world, but they had deceived him. They were the very ones that murdered the Messiah. So think of it like this. Just take that story off of Paul and put it on your own life. Could it be that you've been deceived this entire time by the authority that you thought you've had? And when Paul found out, he was peeved. Well, it wasn't a small anger. It wasn't like, you know how people say, like, I'm not angry, I'm righteous anger. That wasn't like that. It's written. Where's it at? Oh, anyways. I saw it on, oh, there it is. It says ground and pillar of truth around Mount Sinai. And Yahweh took Paul all around there for 7 years to cool down. And he told him, where is the lies? He was taught by him. How Yahweh made fools of them. And then he says that I conferred not with flesh and blood. When I was caught up, and he'd say, whether in the body or out of the body. Now, if you had a visionary state, you're not aware of this anymore. When you're in a vision, you're not. It's like, okay, 1, 2, 3 steps in the chart. Don't have to move far. Moses. He's laying on the mountain. Why? Because Yahweh had him suspended for 40 days. This is fasting. They say that's one of the best things to do for your health. Fast. Oh, He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And it wasn't like, you know, when I fast, I lose a lot of weight. Quick. Think I became anorexic, you know, in a day, 2, no food. Come on. Now when he came up from that, Yahshua tapped him and said, I hear a noise of war in the camp. He wasn't muscle atrophy. All right, I'll get back in a second. Let me really love food. We're going to throw me some lamb, Yahshua. He wasn't like that. He was just simply, he was held in store. Ow. This is the substance. And then we have a chart in the works, or if you will, that shows Moses with a silver cord going all the way up in the cloud. And what is that silver cord? That silver cord is that connection that you have, and the baby has what's called an umbilical cord, and it connects to the placenta, and it feeds the baby the whole 40 weeks. It's there. This is not coincidence. 40 weeks, 40 days, one drawn out. Aren't you out of 6 million potential, one drawn out? And here you are. 40 weeks, 9 months, 9 attributes. You see, so I'm coming from spirit at all times. That's, I think, the disconnect from those out in the world. I wasn't taught worldly first. Actually, Dr. Glenn Kinley never taught us anything physical. So we've been spiritual. You know, my problem is taking from this and breaking it down. That's this individual's problem. Now, when someone talks about a rod, first of all, we got to know where we have to go to the root. You got to go to the root of anything. What is a rod? Why have it here at all? You see? So we have a principle. Let's go with that. We'll just stick with just the rod out of all 4 things. Just the rod of Moses. Now, here in the spirit, it's said in, I believe it's Revelation, that there was a reed given unto me, likened unto a rod, that was to measure the temple. This reed, likened unto the rod, we refer to as the pattern. In the vision, those that are given a vision are given a pattern. They're given a way to explain the scriptures. They can dissect it. They could hear unexpressed thoughts in the vision, etc. So this is the reed likened unto a rod. Measure the temple or any topographical structure of the universe, I can measure it by. And then he transformed in the vision given to Moses into the creation by the pattern, which is this intangible tabernacle. He sees it. Now, this is spirit. It's not made manifest yet. The instructions, if you will, are here. So then as he's creating a creation, he's creating it by a specific pattern. And I can even give it to you right now, threefold. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's the pattern. The light from the darkness, twilight, and the mist. Boom. Threefold, 1 day. That's it. Then he's going to do it again. It is not. You see the white line? That's the reed. Likened unto a rod, transforming into the second day. And it's threefold. And so on, as I go through. So my question is, did Moses have the vision or did Aaron have the vision? Moses. And now there was also a time when Aaron felt, Yahweh spoke to me too. Me and Miriam, your sister, we're just as good. You ain't nothing special, Moses. And Yahweh got pretty upset about that. He came down.
You're
In the cloud.
Hear not my words.
Here, this is where we get. This is why I can knock. Don't put the Quran in my lap. Free laws, all that crap. Don't put it in my lap. Because this is, if the one verse, if there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known to him in a vision, speak to him in a dream. He's all the Quran 600 years after the Messiah. Trash. Trash. Because he was, the inception was wrong. The very inception, he was given blah, blah, blah by Gabriel. Mormon. Wrong.
Yeah.
Holy tablets by Michael Gabriel. He shall add to this book. The curses shall be added to you. All of that. Your new Bible. It's just an extension of trash. Well, how am I able to say that? Because I have the reed likened unto a rod. And I just take what you say and put it up to this. Doesn't match. I don't call you a liar. I don't call you a devil. I don't say none of that. It's the most cases you're not even a good imp.
Yeah.
I don't try to shame you. I'll tell you the truth. And if you want to go toe to toe, I can. I got the champ. If you want to get knocked out a few times before you finally say something, sure. But that's not why I'm here. Y'all didn't send me to whoop everybody up. You didn't send me for that. Though I can with this. He didn't send me. He sent me for peace. He sent me for righteousness. He sent me to sit my behind down and listen to some teaching, listen to a few folks, and my mouth off and my ears on. That's what he sent me to do. Other than that, when I get called on by the moderator, I'm to speak as the Holy Spirit. If I have nothing to say, I get out. You see, I'm not gonna. It's funny because you used to be Henderson, and my mom used to say how amazing, like how to play on words. Yahweh does little things and the hindering the sons. You don't want to hinder the sons. That's what we have the Hendersons. We ain't gonna stop this. And speaking of Hendersons, a little personal testimony is I'm grateful that I actually was raised by someone in class, other than my parents, that was in class, that was able to raise me in the principles that now I look that's lacking in childcare and life and my constituents. As I look around, I look and I'm like, dang, Pat really taught me some principles at that when I was 3, 4, 5, all that. And then I think of one of the things she said that sticks to me to this day. One time I'm cutting up as usual, and I did something, and I interrupted the flow for like a brief second, and she puts me on the corner or something. Time out. And she tells me, Adrian, I just want to tell you something. One monkey, don't stop, no show. And she continued on doing what she was doing. And I remember that because it's the same thing with this. The same thing with this. You might look like we're righteous and all that. We're not. None of us, I'm going to put it like this. We all have sheep that have gone astray. Yahweh could bump me off, get an African just like me and set him there and let him be obedient. Looking just like me. So I'm humbled by that. I know that it's only Yahweh that picked us. There's an election that goes on, not like the one out there, free Trump, 2024, all that crap. That's not the election I'm talking about. I'm talking about this one. Proverbs 8:20. I was with him, and he knew that. And when I manifested in the flesh, in the world, he already had everything set up specifically for this one. The history, the world was set up at a specific time. The class was a certain way. All of these things he did for me. And when you really think about it, like really take that gravity by yourself and you're alone and by yourself, as the founder said, you'll start to see that these things, as a founder would say on one of his reel-to-reel tapes, you see this chart, it's but painted canvas. You are the reality of what's painted on the chart. So this reed, you see spirit law coming all the way down? This is that reed likened unto a rod that's still active today. Spirit law didn't just go out of style and out of fashion, you know. Day Pentecost happened and it's like, you know, like Father's Day, one day, 365, you know. Well, and it's over. Father's Day's done. Don't even say, no, it's over. That's not how Pentecost was. Pentecost continues on and on and on. And so that day of Pentecost actually started here. As he created the days of creation, he brought it to the Gentiles. 7 days. You see, he didn't lose anything. He's not like dropping off as he's making it. He's here. So when Moses comes down, or as the creation, as it comes down, Yahweh had him create a tabernacle. What's interesting about this tabernacle, 9 months it was made. After 9 months, think about this. This is all I'm saying about us. Okay? We're ordained. When this cloud sat on the mountain, it was on the top. And when it was on the top of the mountain, this mountain acted like the Ark of the Covenant. So if so much of a beast touched it, it was thrusty with a dart, right? So it was a holy mountain of Yahweh. And on that chart over there, the Moses chart, I'm not going to walk all the way over there, but we actually have a tent painted there with a cloud right there. And what it's showing in proximity is that the cloud was on the back side of the mountain. It was hard to really draw it like that, but that's what that means. The cloud was based on the back side of the mountain at the tent. So what it's showing in one sense is that before the mountains were, I am. So he said, I'm going to do something about that, if you will, that I'm going to create a tabernacle for the sole purpose for me to dwell with Israel. And we're here after the day of Pentecost. No, he's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's all things. There's no way for you to get away from him. What do you mean to be with them? He's already with them. Isn't he Yahshua, the Son of Man? Okay, chill. Relax. We get it. You have an understanding. I'm drawing out a principle. The principle is to Israel. It seemed Yahweh Elohim on the mountain and you down here. Now, in that perspective, when he said, build me a tabernacle so I might dwell amongst them, there's a principle there. What do you have? As Paul says, what? Know ye not that your body is the temple or tabernacle of the Holy Spirit? Which, you gotta go to IDMR to get, sit a couple years, eventually you'll get it. That's not what it's written. It says that it's in you, that you have of Yahweh, when you're not your own. So you're bought with a price. Glorify Yahweh and what you would call your body and your spirit, which is his anyway. It's his. So getting back. This is no good. This was no good until this happened. It made its grand entry and it filled this. So if you said, build me a tabernacle so I might dwell among you, and your body is a tabernacle, he's dwelling among you. He built you specifically to dwell with you, to be in you, to experience his creation. That's him. So in this compartment, now you have this, it was read. Actually, if someone could actually get that scripture, I think it's Hebrews, the 9th chapter, question mark. And when it was read on Sunday, it was read Moses' rod. Even on the Bible, it's written Aaron's rod. So I'm going to take this Where it talks about it starts talking about the vessels. It says, okay, the first therein.
Then verily the first so ordinances of divine service and a lovely sanctuary. There was a tabernacle made, the first wherein was the lampstand.
Here he's speaking. He says there was a tabernacle made. Now our chart has 3 compartments. And we know it doesn't start with the lampstand. So where's Paul speaking from? He's saying the first. Well, after he's speaking again after the day of Pentecost, and this is after this had been done away with, because the Messiah died. The 4 points of blood are done, fulfilled. He was baptized for us. He was anointed. He is that door, and then he's coming in through the lampstand. Another thing that Dr. Cindy Justice talked about was the veil. So we have on our chart here, you'll see a veil that separated the holy place from the most holy place. Well, in the chest region, we have that same veil like drawn out, but there's a cutaway. It's consumed there. If you come up close, you could see that. So you get to see, peer right into, if you're standing, it's Matthew 24, 14 to 15. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. And now when you're standing there, you're actually standing and being able to look on into the most holy place. Because the veil is gone. So I'm able to look on in through. So much to it. But that's what I'm getting at there. Go ahead. That is that he got that taken out of.
The first was where there was tabernacle, the first wherein was the lampstand and the table and the shipwreck, which is called the sanctuary or holy place. And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant laid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had been, and Moses brought the blood, and the tables of the covenant, and over it the cherubims of glory, shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot now speak particularly.
He's saying you can't speak particularly with that. Well, the ark actually was taken for a while after, you got battles with Israel. They would have the Ark of the Covenant. Well, and disobedience, they'd lose it back and forth, to the point where Yahweh said, enough, put it in the cave. And that's where this is to this day. They can't find this structure, no matter what they say. We found layers of the lost stuff. No, they ain't going to be able to find it. So, Hannah's talking, here she corrected Aaron's rod to Moses' rod. Now, if you look back and you go back to how this even happened, there was a famine in Canaan's land, and that's how Joseph comes. After Joseph, everyone knows the story of Joseph when he got Israel down there, and he says to them, Yahweh did this to preserve life. Well, he tells them that Yahweh is going to visit you. And if you read how he tells them, he's actually leaning on his staff. So he's prophesying, dying, leaning on his staff. What is that pointing to? Is that a principle? Is that to his last breath, he's holding on to that pattern. He's able to see through, and he's able to look and make a prophecy by this pattern. That's why it's written that to their law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it's because there's no light understanding in them. So that pattern that we liken unto a rod, Moses, as he dies leaning on his staff, when the 400 years is coming up, Moses slays. Now, the other schools say Moses killed him with the shepherd's staff, the Egyptian. No, he didn't use the staff like that. He did a 6-inch punch. Now, there was one that used a staff to do that. Cain. And the story is Cain wasn't a shepherd, but he took his brother's staff and killed him with it. Now, as we take these things, now this is me taking it all in mind. I'm not letting go of anything. I'm holding it all in my little basket of staff, if you will. So staff, where's it all at? As he's leaning on his staff, Moses comes, and coincidentally, Moses becomes a shepherd. And it isn't his own flock. It's a flock of his father-in-law. So that's showing you Yahweh is prepping him, almost like foreshadowing what it is he's going to be doing by being the shepherd of his father-in-law. You see? So he has the staff. And when he passes it to Aaron in the Bible, it's so Aaron can speak for him. That's why I got confused with as it's Aaron's rod, because Moses is giving it to him to speak as a mouthpiece. And as Aaron holds the staff, he's explaining what thus saith Yahweh through Moses. Now as they come in, Aaron was a priest. He was the first priest, Aaronite priesthood. Now his sons, he had 2 sons. They came up and they saw they were qualified to be priests according to the law, according to Yahweh. They saw Elohim, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu. Now, perfection, right? They see this. Now, this is what happens when you don't tarry. This is what happens when you don't wait. They rose up to play, and they built a golden calf. We don't want what happened to Moses. That's exactly what they said, because they thought he died. We don't want whatever happened to Moses. We don't want whatever happened to Moses. We don't want that. We want this. And they made their own. That's my heart's desire and prayer to Israel, IDMR, and you all do, is that you might be saved. Because I bear you record that you have a zeal of Yahweh, and not according to knowledge. Because the Messiah is the end of the law for righteousness to all those that believe. You see, you're not going to get it from a man. You're not going to get it on a Zoom call. You're not going to get it in YouTube. You're not going to get it coming to class. At your best, Doc Henry told us that you're going to make mistakes trying not to make mistakes. Even if you're sitting here, Holly, and you came from all this, Yahweh's going to only reveal what it is he meant for you to reveal. You're not going to get it in the seat like that. You're not going to get anything. It's soul to soul. My Elohim speaking to your Elohim. That's how you get it. Now that read, now as Moses, I'll wrap it up here. Now they're in perfection. They went down. You see, Aaron was the main one who's told them, go ahead and grab your gold. Go, what we'll do, we'll fashion it, and I'll pop this calf. Think about that story he tells. We took all the gold and confusion, threw it in, and I'll pop this calf. Yeah, cow. Baby cow. Calf. So, calf, and I'll pop this calf. What did the world say? How did the world come in? They're just, I'll pop them out. And they expect you to buy that. No, I'll pop this calf, and they worship and play. And then that's when Aaron, when Moses came down, he wasn't happy. He wasn't like, he took the, you see these law, he breaks it. And that's showing that the first law, they would break. They would break it. But then you have to bring your own set. That's the whole principle. When we come to class, that's what we're doing. We're bringing our own heart for Yahweh to write. Totally open, free, like as much as the world's done this to it, and people have done that to it. Yahweh told us that if no one else loves you, I do. Why do we go to Ohio every 2 years? There's this one word my dad taught me really early. Covenant. Covenant. Promise. They're the same thing. 400 years before the law, this 400 years, this is what he was looking at. when he was saying, Yahweh will surely visit you. He was looking at his father Abraham, you see, and he saw that event. Yahweh will surely visit you. This is a promise. You're going to go through something, but I'm going to come and get you out of it. That's the promise he has. We're all going to go through something. We're no better than Israel. We're actually in a more precarious position than any other nation is, because Yahweh taught us face to face. That's, you see, the meeting tent. Ooh, there's so much involved here. But Aaron was there too. You understand? He knew better. So when he goes up, in his, remember, he had two made up in the bayou. What happened? They offer strange incense. What's strange incense now? That's strange incense. Any false doctrine, really. Because what happened with the art of apothecary, you had certain ingredients. Some ingredients, like you could get around camp. Others took you a while to go and get. So you had to go and get the others. What happens is you get a little lazy, you go and get a few things, and then you're thinking, oh, the saffron would do instead of what Yahweh said. And then you go and start putting in your own stuff. And what happened was, it's the same thing with the doctrine. You listened to a few things that a few taught you without a vision, but they started getting these other schools, and it's just enough truth. But instead of you going on that back and getting what you need to get, you see, you just put that's good enough. That's good enough. No, you're Yahweh. How about you get that? So, anyways, they die. They drop dead, and then Aaron's left. So Aaron, he kept going in and out of the most holy place whenever he wanted to, not by his prescribed way. Whenever the cloud would lift, he's just running in there anytime. Joshua told Moses in their meeting tent, listen, you better tell your brother, stop running all up and down, because you love him. I don't. I'll kill him. And so that's what happened. Leviticus 16:2. Why? Because I'm going to go here. In the midst of the cloud, between the wings of the cherubim, I'm running here. Don't just be running up in that kind of way whenever you feel like it. Dead. Well, he didn't die right then. What actually happened was Yahweh took him up in the mountain. He was in this. Where is it at? He was in this. And Yahweh stripped him, took all the garbs off, stripped him, and then killed him. And then Aaronite didn't become priesthood. That's when Moses says, who's on Yahweh's side? And the Levite tribe stepped up. And what Yahweh said about their inheritance, they weren't getting inheritance here. What happens is that these nations provided for them up here, but they had no natural inheritance. And when asked of Yahshua, what is their inheritance? He answers them and says, the priesthood is their inheritance. And they're like, they're not going to get any, that's their, in other words, their kingdom's not earthly. You see? So here you have, and I'm wrapping up, he's stripped. What it's pointing to is this one. If you have something happen in heaven, you have it manifest on the earth plane. So Lucifer didn't start off evil. He didn't start off bad. He was actually, if you look at the pattern, he was actually here. The cherub that covereth, if you will. He was the first, we were taught the first one made, if you would call it first, second, third. He was the one, it wasn't, and his charge was to look after the other angels. Now, in heaven, he wasn't like, get it straight. Listen, no one's coming. No, he ain't doing all that. Just be that he entertained something very evil. Something, if you're not careful, you can be entertaining too. He said, I will be like the Most High. That's different than what we teach in class. We're not trying to be like Yahweh Elohim. We are him. We're not trying to be likesies. Like, what's he doing? Oh, his tie is straight. I'll take short my tie. He's on time. I'm being on time too. That's not it. That's not it. You're going to miss it like that because it's all purposed within the man. You're going to miss it looking at other folks. So this one was when he said, "I'll be like the Most High." That's where he fell. And this is the war in heaven. And this same warfare is happening now. Anything that tries to uprise itself above the knowledge of Yahweh is not it. And when the Levites came in and did this function and operation correctly, he saw a glimpse. And that's where we sit today in closing, is that we don't have, let me say it like this. We don't have a vision. We don't have a vision. It's not an external like vision like you're thinking. We didn't have that. We are that. The founder, as he's teaching, over and over, he says, I had a vision 1930, then he says 31, 32, etc. Then when he's about to pass, he says, I didn't have the vision in 30, 31, 32. I didn't have the vision. He says that I am the vision. I am the revelation. And we're not having a General Assembly. We are the General Assembly. We're bringing that in extreme love and passion to the schools, to the world, really, because they're going to look at this event and see how we handle it and look for precedents, really. How can you go to what you call the enemy's doorstep and bring peace? This is how it's done. That pattern. That's if we all. That's what that bronze serpent was about. But in closing, Moses held it up. Israel got bit. Fiery serpents. But as long as they kept their eyes on the bronze one, they made it out okay. You're not going to be in this world free. But if you keep your eyes on Yahweh, the venom won't affect you. I love you all. We'll see you in Ohio. Thank you.
Before I close class, Dr. Holly Holy has an announcement.
Sorry, just really quick. In the baby's NICU room, there's a wall where we can hang, pictures and things like that. So I have a poster board. It's out in my car. I'm going to bring it in. But if you all wouldn't mind signing that, just words of encouragement and love for them, so I can hang it up in a room, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Don't forget Thursday, we're loading. Okay. Yeah, what he said. I'm gonna close class now. I like to thank everyone for coming and welcome any visitors. We hold classes on Tuesdays and
Our next class will be in Ohio.
yes, on our next class will be in Ohio on Monday through Friday. All right. From
Times and we post.
okay. The times will be posted. Our next moderator in Ohio will be Dr. Danny Gutierrez. All donations will be accepted by our Secretary Treasurer, Dr. Lisa Irvis, and may we please stand for the doxology.
Yep.
Now, then the Savior to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding delight to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before now, all time, now and forever. Let us all say hallelujah.
Yeah.
Get your Bibles.
Oh my.